Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into some really helpful info we found over at https://bloodtest.co.uk.
That's right. We're focusing on one specific test, the cortisol blood test.
Yeah, the one people often call the stress hormone test.
Mm-hmm.
You want to figure out why it's important, especially for, people needing services near Winsford.
Exactly. Our mission today is pretty simple. What is this test? Why should you care about it for your health? And what are the real concrete benefits?
Okay, let's break it down nice and easy. Cortisol. It's the stress hormone, sure, but what's it actually doing in our bodies?
Well, think of it as a manager. It helps control how your body uses energy, that's your metabolism, and it keeps an eye on things like blood pressure, too. It's really vital.
So it's not just for stressful times?
No, not at all. But knowing about it early, that's the key thing from the source material. Getting tested helps doctors see if your adrenal glands, the bits that make cortisol, are, working properly.
Right. And if they're not, what happens then?
That's where early detection is such a massive benefit. If your levels are way too high, it could be something called Cushing syndrome. Too low might mean Addison's disease.
And finding those early, that makes a difference.
A huge difference. It means you can get the right treatment started quickly. That's a major win for your long-term health. It's why this test, simple as it is, matters so much.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk about getting it done. The info from https://bloodtest.co.uk mentions services around Winsford. How does someone there actually get this test?
It's actually pretty straightforward. The test itself is just a normal blood draw, usually from your arm. Easy peasy.
Any special instructions?
Yeah, one main thing. You really need to try and schedule it for the morning. That's because cortisol levels are naturally highest then, usually around 8 a.m.
Okay. So timing is important.
Crucial. And maybe try not to get super stressed right before you go in, if you can help.
What tip? And for people actually in Winsford, where can they go? Does the source give specifics?
It does suggest checking local options. Places like Winsford Health Center or maybe Cheshire Medical Center often provide these kinds of tests. You'd need to check with them directly, of course.
And what about the cost? Is it expensive?
It can vary. If you go private, you might be looking at maybe £50 to £150, something in that range. But, and this is important, if your doctor thinks you might have symptoms of Cushing's or Addison's, the NHS may well cover the cost. So definitely talk to your GP.
Good to know it's accessible. Now, you mentioned benefits beyond just finding out if you have one of these conditions. What else?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. The test is fantastic for tracking things.
Tracking, like how well treatment is working.
Exactly that. If you've been diagnosed with Cushing's or Addison's and you're on treatment, regular cortisol tests show you and your doctor if it's actually doing its job, if your levels are getting back to a healthier range.
So it provides real feedback.
Objective feedback, yeah. It helps fine-tune the treatment plan.
That makes sense. And I can see how that empowers you, the patient. It's like you get to see the progress.
Absolutely. And even if you don't have a full diagnosis, maybe your levels are just a bit high because of, say, chronic stress.
Which lots of us deal with, right?
For sure. Knowing that number, seeing it on paper, helps you build a plan that's actually for you, not just generic advice.
So it becomes personal. You see high cortisol and think,
right, maybe I need to take stress management seriously. Perhaps it's trying yoga, or really focusing on getting better sleep, or just some regular, gentle exercise. Things we know can help.
it gives you the why behind making those changes. It's knowledge you can use.
Precisely. It puts you more in charge of your own well-being using actual data about your body.
Okay, so we've covered what cortisol is, why testing matters for serious conditions like Cushing's and Addison's, the importance of morning tests,
and how folks in Winsford can access testing, potentially through local clinics mentioned in sources like https://bloodtest.co.uk, maybe even via the NHS.
And we've touched on the power of tracking those levels for treatment and for tailoring your own sort of wellness plan.
Yeah, understanding this hormone is key, especially since everyday things stress. Sleep can really nudge those levels around.
Right. So here's something to think about as we wrap up. We learned that cortisol levels change throughout the day, peaking in the morning, and things like sleep really affect them. So what's one small, simple thing you could do tonight, or maybe first thing tomorrow, to help gently nudge your own stress hormone balance in a healthier direction? Just a little step. What could it be for you?